I originally wrote this episode explaining lenses, going through focal length, aperture, zoom versus prime, and in order to do that I wanted to demonstrate what I was talking about, so I put together a short scene. And in the process of making that short scene, I bought this light here, and I absolutely fell in love with all the features that it has. So I wanted to rewrite the episode to explain how to have that cinematic look with only one light. So without further ado, here's the short scene.
In the case of nuclear or radiological fallout, people living around potential targets such as military bases and chemical plants may be advised to evacuate. Protection from radioactive fallout will require taking shelter in an underground area or in the middle of a large building. Fallout shelters can be any protected space where the walls and roof are thick and dense enough to absorb radiation. The more distance and time you put between you and the fallout particles, the better. After radiological or nuclear fallout, you shouldn't leave your shelter until officials say so. The length of your stay can range from a day or two.
The market back.
What's your name? Here, I have a special Zimmerman.
As you can see, really simple short scene, only using one character, one location, and more importantly, only using one light and still getting that cinematic look. So let's start off with the light itself. So this light here is the OMBAR RGB portable video light, and it's currently sitting at $47.99 on Amazon. I think that's incredibly reasonable considering all the features packed into this little light and how bright it can actually go. In my opinion, is this light worth it? Absolutely. However, it all depends on where you are in your career. If you're a starting cinematographer, filmmaker like myself, then I can't recommend small lights like this enough because they are so simple to use. However, the only limitation is your creativity and how creative you are with this light. If by the end of the video you are interested in buying this light, I have included a link in the description below. But first, let's get into how I lit this scene only using this one light. As you can see from this first shot here, it does leave a nice outline along his face. However, looking at it now, I probably should have exposed more of his face. I should have moved the light ever so slightly more to the left, giving more exposure to his shoulder and his face. However, I'm still getting that cinematic look. Same with this shot here, which actually isn't in the film, but you can clearly see that the motivation is the interior light of the car. And you can also see that Jack is the only one who's exposed, and with only one light, that's all you can do is expose what's important to the audience. With only one light, you can't really expose the entire scene. Therefore, you should do the opposite. You should try and expose only one thing, and in this case, it's Jack's performance, the character, because that's what's important in this scene, and that's what tells the story, what drives the story forward, is this character. Therefore, only expose his face. And that's what cinematography is using light to guide the viewer's eyes into something or someone. When lighting a scene, you need to think about the angle in which the light is placed. As you can see from this shot here, the light is almost beaming down onto our character. Now that's because the interior light of a car is always obviously up above and looking down at the character. However, with this small portable light, it's important to note that you could also go from the side or from down below. And as you can see here, how the different angles can change the look of an image. The first mode this light has is the ability to change its color temperature. As you can see here, I've got it on 2500, and if I switch it all the way up to 8500, you can see that it's nice and blue. This is the other end of the spectrum, and this is really important to consider when you're lighting a scene. As you can see from this shot here, I've actually set the light to 2500 because most low range cars, their interior lights are that warm glow. However, if I was to change it to the other end to 8500, you can see the difference that makes, and it looks very unnatural. If you want to go for that more creative look, then you can. However, I wanted that natural look. Therefore, 2500 was the right decision to go for. Another really important mode that this light has is the RGB color wheel. And as you can see, I can filter through all the different colors. And this is especially important with more creative projects such as music videos and more creative films that use color to tell a story. And let's apply that to my short scene. So let's say that we wanted the film to be slightly more green and more creative, and we set the light to a bit more of a green tone like this. And as you can see from the short scene, if I just added that green tone to it, it would give it that matrix look, which is again more of a creative look than a natural look. I'm sure you notice another way that I use color in this scene, which brings me on to my favorite mode, which is the effects mode. The effects mode is honestly so much fun, and it's one of the reasons why I completely rewrote the episode. And I originally didn't have the police in this scene, but when I opened this light and I started playing around with the effects, I just had to write it in somehow, and I feel like it works really well. So you have lightning 1, lightning 2, ambulance, police sirens, alarm, candles, TV.
Report suspicious activities and call 911 for immediate response.
With the effects mode, it's also very important to consider sound design. By using sound design, it's not just lightning, it could be electricity, it could be car flashing. Honestly, the only limit really is your creativity and how creative you are with not only the light itself, but with sound design as well. By having these effects in the light, it really gives off that cinematic look sometimes, especially if you do it correctly. And I'm really excited to see what future projects I could use this light for and use the effects for. And I'm thinking about all these different possibilities that I could do for that cinematic look. And again, really simple, just one light. It doesn't take a lot to create an effect. You just need this light in the different modes. In 2022, I want to focus once again on my passion, which is telling stories, which is the whole reason why I got into cameras, I got into cinematography, I got into sound design, because I want to tell good stories. So for 2022, expect to see more short films, documentaries, more stories on this channel, because that is the real reason why I got into this in the first place. And I'm now back into a position where I can actually do that properly. I've got no time restraints, I've got no one telling me to do this at this time, you need a deadline. There are no deadlines now, which is brilliant. And COVID is starting to slowly go away, I hope. So now, yeah, I'm now in a better position to once again revisit that part of my life. And so yeah, expect to see that down the line in this year. Also, what did you guys think of the new intro? I much prefer it. It's much more streamlined, it's shorter, it's less convoluted. I was starting to not like the old intro, but please let me know in the comments if you do prefer the new intro. This video is a bit shorter than the other ones, but I have got a bigger episode coming up. Probably not for a few months yet, but it is quite a big episode, and it's going to be quite fun to show you guys what I've been doing, as well as other projects for this channel that are in the works, but they will come in 2022. It is going to be a good year, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next episode.